Goodbye.
A nationwide search continues tonight for a missing Wisconsin teen believed to be in danger after her parents were found dead.
Plus, an historic harvest taking place in Wisconsin as farmers try their hands at growing hemp for the first time in 60 years.
And there's a push to help students at Madison College after a new survey finds a third of students there are skipping lunch because they can't afford to eat.
This is News 3 at 6.
Thank you for joining us tonight. The search continues for a teenage girl who has been missing from her barren home since early Monday.
Deputies found her parents dead in that northwestern Wisconsin home. Jamie Kloss is considered missing and in danger. Our Jamie Perez has the latest update from officials tonight. Jamie?
So there were some reports earlier today that Jamie may have been spotted in South Florida, but the Barron County Sheriff said that source is not credible. But they are still continuing their round-the-clock investigation. Now, investigators say that more than 200 tips have come in related to her disappearance. Today, investigators conducted a secondary search of her home, but say they haven't found anything new that could aid in their search. Investigators say they don't have a ton of answers for the public at this point. At that press conference earlier today, the superintendent for the Barron County School District gave an emotional statement on what Jamie was like as a student. On top of her being a quiet and sweet girl, a dancer, and on the cross-country team, she was a caring person on top of everything.
A teacher just recently shared this with me about Jamie. Jamie wrote on one of her assignments, in response to the question, what would you do if you were given $1 million? She said, feed the hungry and give the rest to the poor.
The school is offering counseling to help students who have been struggling since Jamie's disappearance. And autopsies will be conducted on her parents tomorrow, now identified as 56-year-old James Kloss and 46-year-old Denise Kloss. And of course, we will continue to keep you updated on the latest developments.
A story that everyone is following. Jamie, thank you.
Cash bail of $35,000 has been set for the driver charged in a fatal car crash that happened over the weekend. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says Nicholas Hanley was drunk when he hit a car that was turning into a pumpkin patch. Officials have identified the man who was killed in the crash as Kevin Sylvie of Sun Prairie. The 60-year-old died at the scene. A passenger in the car was airlifted to the hospital. Hanley appeared in Dane County Court today.
When the police approached him, he initially lied, said he hadn't been drinking, then said he had the 2 beers that everyone seems to always have when they get involved in the police investigating them. He spectacularly failed the HGN and the heel to toe and the walk and turn.
Hanley was arrested on suspicion of homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle and 4th OWI offense. More details of the case will be released on Friday.
A nice but windy day for us here in southern Wisconsin. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield is here with your first alert forecast. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Charlotte. Yeah, that breeze has been more than bothersome at times on this Tuesday, and it will be back with us on Wednesday. But temperatures will be about 10 to 15 degrees cooler than they are right now. Downtown Madison, the Edgewater Skycam, still looking at a lot of blue sky and sunshine. Temperatures down to 55 in Madison, calm wind, a dew point in the mid-30s. Some other temps, 57 in Lone Rock, 55 in Mineral Point, 56 in Monroe, and 53 in Juneau. Wind speeds starting to come down a little bit. As I mentioned, they'll be back with us tomorrow, but at least for the nighttime hours, shouldn't be terribly bad. Wind gusts still pretty gusty closer to Platteville and Boscobel, with over 20-mile-per-hour winds showing up there. Now, temperatures and winds over the next 12 hours will fall further through the 40s into the 30s, and starting off our Wednesday in the mid-30s. We'll talk about up and down temperatures as we head into the end of this week and our next chance for possibly some flurries in your first alert forecast.
Thanks, Dave. Harvest season is underway tonight for farmers in our area, including those growing hemp. This is the first time hemp has been grown legally in Wisconsin in more than 60 years. News 3's Rose Schmidt is here with how the first harvest is going.
Charlotte, Wisconsin started a hemp pilot program this year, and more than 200 farmers across the state became licensed to grow it. Mark Hubbard planted 35 acres at this hemp farm in Monroe, and he's been harvesting 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for several weeks now. The Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection tests hemp plants to make sure they have less than 0.3% THC. That's the psychoactive drug found in marijuana. Some of Mark's plants tested higher than that, meaning they can't be harvested or extracted for CBD. A number of farmers agree with all the flooding and rain. It hasn't been the best year to start growing a new crop in Wisconsin, but they're optimistic nonetheless.
This is all personal money. There are no bankers investing in companies to do this. So these individuals definitely put all of their hard-earned and sometimes all of their life savings into this, to making this happen and to having this vision and to move forward to make something positive.
More than 1,800 acres of hemp were planted this season, and farmers across the state are spending the next several weeks harvesting those plants before the hard frost gets here. Then they'll send it off to processors both locally and around the country. Much of that hemp will then be extracted for the chemical compound CBD, making things like oil, butter, and lotion. And you could start to see products made using Wisconsin hemp on shelves in local stores as soon as January.
Rose Schmidt reporting tonight. Rose, thank you.
The candidates for governor and their supporters are emphasizing education once again today. It stops around the state. Governor Walker in Janesville talking about his recently announced plan to give schools 2/3 of their funding from state money. State Superintendent Tony Evers had announced a similar plan earlier this year. A coalition of women today announced their support for him at an event in Madison.
But that's really what's ultimately at stake as an election, is whether we move forward and build off of our positive reforms or we go backwards. We've got a plan to keep Wisconsin working for generations to come.
I think many have lost sight of what is important, and we have to be reminded of the things that bring us together and unite us. That is why I know Tony is the right person for the job, and why I am so proud to be his wife.
Evers and Walker will meet for the first debate this Friday night. You can watch it live right here on WISC-TV 3 at 8 p.m. There's a stereotype about college students, right? Surviving on ramen and mac and cheese, whatever's cheapest. But that issue is all too real for many Madison college students.
A recent survey shows more than 1/3 of students are skipping meals because they don't have the money to afford food. Amanda Quintana is here with more on the effort to connect students with local help.
Yes, well, that survey given out by the Student Senate shows many students are food insecure. Although hearing such a large number of their peers are struggling was initially a little shocking. Students are learning this is a common issue on college campuses, and they want to figure out how to fix it.
It's very sad. It's alarming. It's kind of angering as well. It's just like that this is still something that we need to address. We need to do something about it, though.
That something starts today with a resource fair. Student Senate President Stephen Ansard says to him student food insecurity was an invisible problem before he saw the survey results. 37% of Madison area technical college students say they skip meals because they can't afford food.
If you're hungry in class, you're not going to be able to focus on what the teacher's telling you, the lesson that's trying to be taught.
The school is trying to help those students by bringing local resources to them, partnering with 2 UW-Madison students dedicated to addressing this issue.
Not a lot of people know about the term food insecurity and know how widespread the problem can be, especially at two-year institutions like MATC, where there's a lot more, what might be called untraditional students that are supporting families, supporting, children, supporting parents who are working multiple jobs, who are going to school part-time.
Abigail San and Susan Maloney got $7,000 worth of grants for a year-long project taking on food insecurity at MATC.
We separated our goals into two. One, to educate and inform people about what's going on at their campus, and then also to start long-term initiatives that will actually address the issues themselves.
Today's fair is just the beginning, a way to figure out if these local resources aren't enough, what can be done to keep students from going hungry. Fighting food insecurity is one of the priorities of MATC's 2018-2019 budget. They've allocated up to $75,000 to develop strategies to address student hunger. Now, that could include an on-campus food pantry. It could include another resource fair. All of that still in the works.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. Some Rock County residents may have trouble getting medical care in the future.
A clinic offering free services and other health care providers in the area say this move could impact hospital bills for everyone. That story next.
Look
Welcome back. One of Rock County's free clinics is closing.
First Choice Health Center is closing its Janesville location days after its Beloit Center closed. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter reports.
For 46 years, First Choice Health Center worked to provide access to health services, regardless of what people could pay.
I think of healthcare as a right, not a privilege.
The former director of the Rock County Clinic says the services provided here were necessary.
It's critical that people have access to reproductive health services, that people have practice safer sex, that people get access to contraception, whether or not they can afford it.
The clinic relied on federal funding to stay in business. Funding that was cut after the Affordable Care Act was implemented and numbers at the clinic dropped, leading its 2 locations to close this month. Other healthcare providers say this will force people who can't pay to go elsewhere, like the ER.
Anytime a primary care source closes or low-income people have fewer options for primary care, we see that there's a spike of individuals who go to the emergency room.
Which could lead to the hospital becoming more expensive for everyone.
When we don't take care of those who are most vulnerable outside of the ER setting, people see it hit their pockets when they go in for a necessary ER visit.
Perry says closing the clinic's doors was not an easy decision, and it's one they've been analyzing for several years.
He says they are working to find other clinics capable of taking on the people who relied on First Choice for the help they needed. We are hours away from Game 4 of the NLCS. The Brewers feeling pretty good after last night's big win.
And it's a day of celebrating for a Madison area organization who has spent the last 12 months helping others in need.
A bit of a temperature roller coaster is on the way for the rest of this week. I'll tell you the next chance to see some snowflakes in your forecast in just a few minutes.
That helps the homeless in Dane County celebrating 1 year of service.
Today was a celebration at the Beacon Center in Madison, full of music, cake, and face painting. The center helps people in a variety of ways and partners with 17 different nonprofits. It offers shower facilities, lunch, and helps people find things like housing and jobs.
Well, it's a one-stop shop, so you don't have to travel across town. You don't have to worry about a bus pass or a car ride over, so the response has been terrific.
The Beacon is always looking for donations and volunteers. We have a link to the center's website in the links section at channel3000.com.
Congratulations to the Beacon. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joins us now with a look at our forecast.
The sunshine was a beacon today. It also, with the wind, helped temperatures get into the 50s and even some 60s showing up for highs today. But colder temperatures are on the way. Here's our setup. Here's our weather track setup. Milder air in town, helped by those southwesterly winds, but that cold front comes through tonight into tomorrow, bringing us some cooler air, and that will stick around for the next couple of days. Temperatures really going to be bouncing around from the 40s and 50s. Really day by day, and we've seen temperatures bounce around basically for the entirety of October. When it's been cold, it's been pretty chilly, and when it's been warm, look at some of these temperature departures. 21 on the 9th of this month, and today looking a little bit below normal as well, but everything kind of comes back together. Our monthly departure is only about 0.1 degree above normal, so we're right back to where we started. I think the remaining 2 or so weeks of October going to be in a similar vein, although I think it's going to remain chilly for the next week or so with temperatures in the 50s Thursday and Friday, but really we should be in the upper 50s for this time of year. And we're going to see a healthy dose of 40-degree temperatures as well. Doppler track has been quiet over the last couple of days. It remains quiet tonight. I don't think we need to really pay attention to Doppler track until we get later into Friday, where a few showers are possible. And on Saturday, as everything's coming to an end, a few flurries are also possible. More on that in just a little bit. Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam getting close to sunset at the present time, but a lot of sunshine today. High temperatures as a result in the upper 50s and lower 60s. 57 the high in Madison, and the Dell 60 in Lone Rock, and 62 in Boscobel. Temperatures have dropped into the mid 50s in Madison, upper 50s in Janesville, and 54 in Camp Douglas and Watoma. Still looking at about 15 to 20 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday, and those winds are starting to subside just a little bit. Still very gusty 24-hour period, and we had peak gusts over the last 24 hours about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Some of those garbage cans may have been knocked over, and that breezy weather stays with us for at least the next couple of days. Mostly clear and cold again for tonight, with temperatures in the mid-30s. For tomorrow, lots of sun and breezy, but a little bit colder. And really, we'll see the difference between breeze out of the southwest and breeze out of the northwest for tomorrow, with those temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. So future track showing things staying pretty quiet overall in the rain department. A few clouds could greet us early on Wednesday, but really nothing that we need to worry about. Those clouds won't be productive in any way, and a lot of sunshine once again on the way for Wednesday, and that will allow those temperatures to be pretty chilly for Thursday morning. But we get a shift in the winds once again with these systems nearby but not really affecting us. So we'll be back into the 50s for Thursday and Friday. And with those chances for showers Friday and Saturday, we're really not looking at a lot of precipitation by any means. About 1/10 of an inch of rain. We can take that any day of the week. So no flooding concerns with any showers on Friday and Saturday, which is always good news. Temperatures in the 40s for this weekend. Then we're in the 50s for the start of next week. Plenty of sunshine to go around in that 10-day forecast. Even some 60s could be on the way before the month is over.
The Brewers and Packers both won last night, but they sure gave their fans plenty of nervous moments. The story coming up in sports.
Hi, I'm Michelle Carolla. Tonight on the news at 9, local financial experts weigh in on the best practices for investing in the stock market. We'll explain first on Fox at 9.
Game 4 of the National League Championship Series will start at 8:09 Central Time tonight. The starting pitchers, Gio Gonzalez for the Brewers, Rich Hill for the Dodgers. The Brewers are up 2-1, but there were some nervous moments in last night's 4-0 win when Jeremy Jeffress loaded the bases in the ninth with only 1 out, but wiggled out of it to preserve the win. Jeffress has been pretty bad his last couple of outings, but manager Craig Counsell gave him another chance, and Jeffress closed out the game.
You know, to do it in a spot right now in the postseason, you know, it counts. It says a lot about Counsell and, you know, the confidence that he has in each and every player on our team. And to give me another chance like this, you know, I'm very grateful for sure.
The Packers are 3-2-1 as they hit their bye week. They had a come-from-behind win against the San Francisco 49ers last night at Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers still not at full health, but it really doesn't seem to matter. He's still really good. He hit Devontae Adams with the tying touchdown as Rodgers threw for 425 yards last night. And how about Mason Crosby? He missed 5 kicks at Detroit last week, but last night Crosby was perfect, including the game-winning 27-yard field goal as time expired. The Packers won 33-30. Here's more from Lambeau with Brian McClune.
It has been an interesting first 6 weeks of the regular season for the Green Bay Packers, but here they are with a 3-2-1 record. Now the green and gold hit the bye week.
I feel like our record should be better with some of the games we dropped, but you know, to get this one in the fashion and manner in which we did, you know, hopefully the adversity situation that we overcome will pay dividends in the long run.
It's huge, you know, just to get that win after a tough loss on the road, to come back home and get a win for our fans, and to get some time off to prepare for a good team out in LA.
I'm sure next Monday we'll take a good hard look at this and think about what we did well the first 6 weeks. You know, we're a couple plays away from being, you know, 4-2 or 5-1, and definitely a couple plays away from being the other way. So we're thankful to be 3-2-1 right now and realize what's in front of us and how this type of play might not get it done against the next opponent. So we got to play better.
Things will only get tougher for the Green Bay Packers when they return to action. A coast-to-coast road trip starts in Los Angeles to take on the Rams, and then they head to the East Coast to play the New England Patriots in what will be a matchup between 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, and 5-time Super Bowl champ Tom Brady. Reporting from Lambeau Field, I'm Brian McClune, News 3 Sports.
Rodgers says he's going to get another MRI next week to see how that left knee is healing, and if he doesn't have to wear that bulky brace anymore, he says it'll really improve his mobility. This is practice for the NHL's Chicago Blackhawks. They have some new players on the ice. Actually, they're not players, they're mannequins. They're dressed as hockey players. See, they put them in front of the goaltenders to replicate screens on shots toward the net. The upside of using mannequins, they're durable, cheap, and quite coachable. By the way, they named one of them. They call him Manny Quinn. Manny Quinn.
We have our own Manny Quinn here.
We could be.
Oh, coffee.
We could be.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Okay.
all right.
Don't give him any ideas. They might replace weather people with robots.
I mean,
Yeah, be careful.
we're only a
We've been
couple
talking
years
about that
away.
with Gary for years.
Exactly. It's on the docket for our next meeting. But on the docket for our weather is some cooler temperatures on the way. Still plenty of clear skies in Madison. On the WISC-TV Skycam, temperatures right now are in the 50s across the area. For the next 12 hours, we'll see those temps dip into the 40s and eventually the mid-30s to start our Wednesday. Then for Wednesday, plenty of sunshine, but those temperatures are going to be about 10 to 15 degrees cooler compared to today because of the northwesterly winds, and that cold front comes through tonight, knocking our temperatures down for Wednesday. But we're back into the 50s Thursday and Friday. Could have a few rain showers Friday and Saturday. Even a few flurries could come our way by the time we get to later on Saturday.
All right, Dave, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we will see you back here at 10.
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.